here we are. This is Sex Love Psychedelics, and I'm your host, Dr. Kat, bringing you psychosexual conversations that will leave you intellectually turned on and hungry for more.
During an orgasm, well, there are two kinds of orgasms that we could experience, one that is more contractive and one that is more expansive. So we're looking, world out there, we are looking for the expansive orgasm, but we've been taught to tighten the vaginal opening, or whatever opening, to make a friction occur that creates heat. And then you reach a certain level of heat and the muscles will contract. And it's really from like an immense amount of tightening. And then you reach a certain temperature. The woman has to raise 5 temperatures. The female has to increase her body temperature 5 degrees to orgasm, right? So first it's like a tightening, and then it like contracts, and it feels good and released, right? But there's a whole other orgasm. And that orgasm is one of opening and surrendering, much like the throat chakra. It's actually exactly like the throat chakra. So the vaginal opening widens and the cervical opening widens as you trust your partner more and more, and as you allow your body to open, receiving more and becoming more expansive. When that vaginal and cervical opening swells, the throat opens with it, and you become a portal of energy. Your throat is the opening where cosmic consciousness can enter through the body into the lower chakras, which is your embodiment energy. And where the cervical opening widens, you can get the earth, or even the vaginal opening, you can get the earth energy up into the body, increasing your vitality. So ultimately, for like true orgasmic potential to be met, those two gates have to open. Now, an interesting voice fact. The muscles of the second chakra, the lower half of the rectus abdominis and the obliques, which is all around your womb, your uterus, your procreation, also the male genitals are here, and all of that energy, right? All of those muscles are directly connected to the throat. And they function together in tandem. So if you, right now, you could suck in your stomach. If you want to suck in your stomach with me.
Doing it.
What do you feel in your throat?
Oh, it's interesting. Yeah, it contracts. It like pulls back.
Now relax your stomach. Now push your stomach forward.
Okay, I felt like a dropping in my throat.
So the stomach comes open, the throat drops down, and the muscle band on the side actually expands wide.
Okay, so what you're telling me right now is that we should not suck in our belly while we're having sex to make ourselves look skinny so that we're more attractive.
Yes, exactly. Because that's not even what your partner wants.
Right.
What the male partner wants is to get deeper inside of the grail. So what we need to do is actually open and allow them all the way in to our underbelly, to where our womb is. It's a to not sound like they want to get back in the womb, because this is not degrading to men at all. They want the warmest, juiciest, softest, most potent part of ourselves, which is all the way in our womb center. The female has the access to the 0 point. We have the womb that all life births through. And when the male can get in there and tap into that, this has been my personal experience, and I hope some of you on this call too, you cannot hold back your arousal, ejaculation, and orgasm. And men actually can have orgasms without that microcosmic orbit of non-ejaculation inside of a woman that way, when they're really communing at that depth and level. But in order for a man to get that deep inside, the woman has to be completely surrendered and open to allow that depth of penetration. That super wet, super soft, super umbilical feeling that the penis will then go into is the best feeling for them. They do not need it to be tight. They feel like they have penetrated in and they're allowed to be fully in. And that feeling is exactly what they're looking for. But nobody taught us that.
Yeah.
We were taught that like it has to be tight and sexy. We have to have a tight, and we got
tight pussy. Yeah.
Tight pussy. They want to have sex with virgins, right? But that's not actually. the experience that I have had, or that my teachers have shared with me, that ultimately it comes down to, like so many other species in nature, the male has to be fully received. So they do all of this dance work, the different birds. And I don't know if you've ever heard about lobsters, but they have to actually remove their shell. The female has to come out of her shell and allow the male to plant the sperm in her soft underbelly, much like us. And in order for that to happen, he has to gain her trust over a period of time. And then she will take her mucousy body and pull it out of her shell and allow him entrance underneath this hard shell.
Wow.
How many of us are having that kind of sex where we trust each other and our partners so much that we go into like melty, open, relaxed, juicy place? And it's allowed and it's soft and it's so penetrative, but there's no fear and there's no control.
Yes. No control, no coercion, no pressure. And here's the part that I feel it fall flat for many couples who come to work with me, is because these couples love each other. And so they think that because they love each other, the trust needs to be inherent. But there can be so many layers of there around the concept of safety. And there's an episode on here on Sex Love Psychedelics for you all to check out about safety, that, the definition of safety in sexuality and what we need to feel safe. Like, what are we talking about there? Because it's not enough that our partner wants us to have pleasure and wants us to have orgasmic sex and so it supports us in that. They don't necessarily know the unconscious ways that they're coercing their partner, or they're not conscious of the things that need to be healed in their partner in order to be able to feel their own intrinsic safety. So like their partner also has the responsibility of learning what their needs are, what their limits are, how to vocalize this, how to ask for this, too, that contributes to this co-created relationship of safety. And so it's like this is so beautiful. It paints out, what you're painting is like the essence of devotion. How can how can both partners in whatever gender show up with their part to create that safety so we can have the melty orgasmic space?
Well, that was fun. Thanks for tuning in, lovers. And if you want to experience more ecstasy and sexual liberation, head over to sexlovepsychedelics.com and learn about how you can join me for any one of my online or live events. And while you're there, grab my free guide on sex and psychedelics. Remember, this podcast is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Please contact your healthcare provider and local law before pursuing any of the products or psychedelics discussed. And one final note here. I make this show specifically for you. If you're loving the show, then be sure to leave me a review in iTunes or Spotify to let me know. Happy to be here and happy to serve. I'll see you next time on Sex Love Psychedelics.